Thank you. I'm Chet Huntley. We're going on a trip together, you and I. Only 70 years ago, it would have been impossible. This airplane, trips to the moon. Today, we live with so many scientific miracles, we don't even recognize them or realize how they come about. Every dawn brings new achievements which make our lives healthier, easier, more exciting, and more fulfilling. Part of that story is the story of the Stauffer Chemical Company. To tell it, to show you how Stauffer's chemical wonders touch our lives every minute of the day, we'll have to travel the length and breadth of our land. So come along. There's a lot to see. This is cliffstone, chalk from the White Cliffs of Dover. In the year 1885 in San Francisco, a young chemist noticed that this chalk, used as ballast in ships sailing from England to California, was being dumped into San Francisco Bay. For a few sail company bearing his name and began to make fillers, extenders, and whiting for whitewash. In less than 10 years, Stauffer and de Guigné had 2 plants in San Francisco, supplying a roster of products that included sulfuric, muriatic, and nitric acid, as well as whiting. This was the beginning. Today, Stauffer has grown to international proportions with plants throughout the world and sales upward of $500 million. In the United States alone, Stauffer has plants from coast to coast, producing a huge list of basic chemicals. We're going to show you what only a handful of these plants mean to you, along with Stauffer's 2 main research centers. Now, these are some of the raw materials from which many of Stauffer's chemicals are made: sulfur, salt, sand, phosphate rock, and soda ash in its natural state. Stauffer builds on these raw materials, refines them, combines them with other materials or elements to give us foundation chemicals used to make thousands of products we use every day. Let's start with sulfur, a basic building block. We'll see more of its uses later. But right now, carbon disulfide. Ever hear of carbon disulfide? No? Well, let's imagine it's a Saturday morning and right down there is your house. You're probably home this morning, got up a little late. You don't realize it, of course, but this chemical, carbon disulfide, made from sulfur burned with the kind of gas you use in your gas stove, has kept you warm during the night. For carbon disulfide is basic for making one of our first synthetic textiles, rayon. Pajamas are made of it, and the bathrobe you're wearing. Your wife may be wearing rayon nightwear, too. The blankets and comforters which cover our beds are often made of this wonder synthetic. But this same chemical is used to manufacture cellophane, too. Carbon disulfide is manufactured by Stauffer in a modern complex at Lemoyne, Alabama. This is only one of its facilities that has made Stauffer the largest producer of carbon disulfide in the world. Up the Mobile River from the Gulf of Mexico come huge barges of molten sulfur to be unloaded at Stauffer's own docking facilities. Here begins the process which transforms a yellow liquid into millions of yards of textiles and cellophane. Natural gas, methane, is burned with the sulfur in this giant reaction furnace. At any moment, one operator can read the progress of this automated chemical reaction, speed it up, slow it down, or check for trouble if it shows up on the panel. The reaction of carbon and sulfur, read with skilled eyes here, is taking place right now behind the thick walls of this reactor. The finished product is sent to these storage tanks. And now this highly useful chemical is ready for delivery in tank cars or pipelines to be transformed into rayon or cellophane. But Stauffer Lemoyne creates other chemicals too. The raw material is ordinary rock salt. Using water and electricity, this salt is broken down into two chemicals, chlorine and sodium hydroxide. Let's look at sodium hydroxide first. It is necessary in the manufacture of rayon, too, and it lends its chemical vitality to the manufacture of cellophane as well. In the making of pulp for paper and cardboard, sodium hydroxide, combined with chlorine, is the bleach which gives these high-tonnage products their whiteness. Vegetable oils are refined with sodium hydroxide. It is a necessary ingredient in the extraction of aluminum from its ore, bauxite, the aluminum of 1,000 uses from planes to pans. To clean your oven of grease and grime, you may use a product with the caustic power of sodium hydroxide. How is it created, along with its sister chemical, chlorine, at Lemoyne? Raw salt is unloaded at the Mobile River docks, transported there by barge from the Avery Island mines in the Gulf. Now the salt is put into solution with water in huge tanks, where unwanted materials are precipitated out, leaving pure brine for the electrolytic reaction in this great shed. Inside this shed, electrolytic cells pass a powerful current of electricity through the brine. The current decomposes the salt into its two elements, chlorine and sodium. The latter reacts with water to form sodium hydroxide. The chlorine is drawn off as a gas. Then both are sent to storage tanks, ready for shipment, either by tank car or barge on the Mobile River. Chlorine, what do we use it for? We'll see how it can be combined with other chemicals to create a long list of materials we use every day. But what about chlorine alone? It purifies our drinking water. Chlorine gives us clean water for health and convenience from every tap in our home. Now, combine chlorine with its sister chemical, sodium hydroxide, and you create a bleach that gives these shirts their whiteness originally, and will help every woman bring back their whiteness in her washing machine. Or if you combine chlorine with the other product of the Lemoyne plant, carbon disulfide, you make carbon tetrachloride. They make it at Lemoyne, but it's only one of a family of 5 related chemicals that are made here in Louisville, Kentucky, on the Ohio River, in a Stauffer plant that's a marvel of chemical ingenuity and efficiency. Here Stauffer makes its chlorinated hydrocarbons. Up the Ohio come barges delivering various petroleum-based materials, which will be used for their carbon content, plus methyl alcohol and the basic ingredient, chlorine. Here in 5 adjacent units are created methyl chloride, methylene chloride, chloroform, perchlorethylene, which is known as Stauffer perc, and carbon tet. Today, carbon tet has entered a whole new field of usefulness to man. Along with chloroform, it has become the basis for the amazing fluorocarbons, which have made possible a vast new array of unique packaged products, the aerosols. They give the power to hundreds of aerosol products on the market today. With a push of the nozzle, your shave cream is ready to apply. It gives women a fine, even hairspray they've never had before. Adds new convenience to paint cans and pharmaceuticals. As fluorocarbons, carbon tet, along with its relative chloroform, is the basis for the refrigerant in most refrigerators. And another relative of these two hydrocarbons, perchlorethylene, perc, degreases metal industrially, so your appliances can hold their fine enamel coating. Perc also has revolutionized the economy of a huge American business, dry cleaning. Perc has made possible safe dry cleaning within a local cleaner's own place of business. Has created as well the thousands of new do-it-yourself dry cleaning centers. The fourth of these chlorinated hydrocarbons, methylene chloride, is made at Louisville in these columns. It gives the bite to paint removers, is an important ingredient in the making of safety films we use in our cameras. And methylene chloride is the complete solvent for aerosol insecticides. A large volume byproduct of the manufacture of these hydrocarbons is hydrogen chloride. Stauffer Louisville refines it here for the use of other chemical companies and manufacturers. But it is used too by Stauffer, along with methyl alcohol, to make probably one of the most amazing of the 5 products of Louisville, methyl chloride. There is nothing in the transparent liquid in this bottle to reveal its tremendous potential. We still haven't discovered everything we can make with it. But we do know that from sand, like this, and methyl chloride, we can create a miracle called silicones. Stauffer is making them here in many forms in this plant in Adrian, Michigan. Here in a Michigan cornfield has sprung up one of the most modern and advanced silicone plants in the world, complete with its own research laboratory. Historic Sutton Place, a station on the Underground Railway during slave days, has been restored into a modern office for the towering new chemical complex behind it. This is silicon, made from silicon dioxide, nothing more than sand, which has been burned with carbon to drive off the oxygen. In this giant reactor, methyl chloride and the silicon are combined to create silanes. After complicated reworking, the silanes are sent through separators, dryers, and purification columns, which separate the different chlorosilanes attained in the original reaction. Now, what began as salt is changed into an oil, or it can be produced as a gum, a base, or a compound that resembles rubber in its characteristics. This is what it looks like. Stauffer physically transforms it now by mixing it with fillers, catalysts, and color pigment in mills like these. To this silicone, we are giving the desired color and physical qualities to meet its end use. It can become a product which has all the qualities of rubber and more. For silicone can undergo high temperatures without melting, sustain below freezing temperatures without hardening or cracking, retain always its resiliency and bounce. As anti-foaming agents, silicones are used in processing of foods, the making of pharmaceuticals. As elastomers, they give the resiliency and no-stick seal to the gaskets on your refrigerator. When your ice trays are coated with silicones, the ice won't stick to the trays. The lead-in to the heating element in your electric toaster may be insulated with silicones, ensuring, under high temperatures, wearability you've never had before. And they have become the basis for 1,000 caulking uses. Caulking which sticks, seals, is always pliable, never dries hard. Salt, from which we've obtained chlorine, and sand. Together, they give us silicones. Stauffer scientists in their own research lab are opening new doors to its usefulness every day. Its promise for the future is great. But there's more to the chlorine story. Chlorine is basic to one of the most versatile plastics ever created by man, polyvinyl chloride. In Delaware City, Delaware, as well as here in this jointly owned plant in Long Beach, California, the raw materials for Stauffer's vinyl manufacturing begin. The plant is located next to a large oil refinery, which supplies the gas, ethylene, necessary to the manufacture of this widely useful plastic. In this low-temperature distillation cold box, the crude gas, ethylene, is purified. Now, chlorine and ethylene are reacted in these giant reactor columns to form ethylene dichloride, which in itself is used as a solvent in insecticides. In furnaces like these, most of the dichloride is cracked to form one of the major products of this plant, vinyl chloride. Stauffer has twin facilities for its manufacture here. This clear liquid is vinyl chloride. It evaporates rapidly when it hits the air. By pipeline, it is sent to the polyvinyl chloride plant, where the simple chloride is polymerized into polyvinyl chloride in these reactors. In a chemical chain reaction, vinyl chloride is grown upon vinyl chloride into a multi-unit structure, thus poly, meaning many. This white granular material is vinyl resin, obtained when the water has been removed by centrifuge and the heat of this revolving furnace. Color is added when technicians test it in a miniature mill. Under heat, this chemical wonder is checked for its ability to be formed into a tough, resilient, hard-wearing sheet that has 1,000 uses in modern life. Stauffer itself, as well as supplying resin to other manufacturers, turns out vinyl sheet in Yardville, New Jersey on this giant colander, the largest in the world, capable of turning out a vinyl sheet 8 feet wide. Rolled to exact thickness automatically, the machine cuts each bolt to exact length and begins a new roll without a moment's pause. If you've ever had an outdoor vinyl swimming pool, it probably